Christian teacher quits in tears over school's pro-trans pronoun policy. In Virginia, and this is a little bit of a controversial news story. On August 11th, Laura Morris, a fifth grade public school teacher, announced her resignation due to the new policy adopted by the school board of Loudoun County. Last year, the federal government passed a law that compels the Department of Education in every state to adopt legislation that provides policies regarding transgender students. The new policy being adopted by the school board requires all school employees to respect the preferred pronouns and names of all transgender students. The previous policy only applied to school counselors and other mental health professionals. And as of the writing of this article, the Loudoun County School Board voted 7-2, effectively legitimizing Loudoun County's policy. So this policy about respecting pronouns and their chosen name and stuff is in effect. The vote came despite disruptions and hours of delays by opposing groups. Morris, this teacher in question, resigned due to her refusal to abide by the policy, claiming it, quote, does not square with who I am.
Okay, then leave then, I guess.
Yes.
Good.
So
yeah.
We received some criticism of our coverage of this story. People were saying that we were making this about a transgender issue when it, according to them, potentially was not. So this woman, in her speech, she does not explicitly say that she is resigning over pronoun policies or trans policies. She says a lot of stuff. Well, I mean, it's a brief 2 minutes. But what she specifically names is critical race theory randomly. Because I guess trainings about how to treat transgender students is now critical race theory too. I was doing, do you want to watch this and we can judge together as a group?
Yes.
You need to turn your sound on. Did you share the sound for this tab?
Yes, I did.
Cool.
Thank you for checking.
Okay, so
my name is Laura Morris. I have been a teacher in Loudoun County Public Schools for 5 years and a teacher for 10. In that time, I have learned so much, being on the cutting edge of educational technology and working with a diverse population of students that I have loved. This year, I have the privilege to follow my amazing fourth graders up to fifth, and I have been excited about this all summer. On the other hand, this summer I have struggled with the idea of returning to school, knowing that I'll be working yet again with a school division that, despite its shiny tech and flashy salary, promotes political ideologies that do not square with who I am as a believer in Christ. After reading about your lack of consideration for the growing population of concerned citizens in this division, clearly evidenced by this empty room tonight, where you shut the doors to the public, as well as the emails sent by the superintendent last year, reminding me that a dissenting opinion is not allowed, even to be spoken in my personal life, going so far as to send a form to my colleagues and I, encouraging us to fill it out if we hear one another speaking against the controversial policies being promoted by this school board and adopted in this county. Not only that, but within the last year, I was told in one of my so-called equity trainings that white, Christian, able-bodied females currently have the power in our schools, and that, quote, this has to change. Clearly, you've made your point. You no longer value me or many other teachers you've employed in this county. So since my contract outlines the power that you have over my employment in Loudoun County Public Schools, I thought it necessary to resign in front of you. School board, I quit. I quit your policies, I quit your trainings, and I quit being a cog in a machine that tells me to push highly politicized agendas on our most vulnerable constituents, the children. I will find employment elsewhere. I encourage all parents and staff in this county to flood the private schools.
So what makes you think this was about pronoun policy?
So the entire premise of this event is the school county adopting policies around transgender students. Like that is the entire context in which this specific school board hearing is happening.
Right.
Like,
So
I included that other video that we can watch that like summarizes it all very easily in the
where's
Google
that?
Doc.
Oh,
But like the tension in this county over this issue is extreme. Like the day before, there were like sheriffs had to be called because there was this guy who was refusing to leave. Like they were only calling in a certain number of people at a time because of disruptions. They were doing security checks of everyone who entered the building. Like it was highly unusual for the proceedings of like a normal school board meeting.
right. So it seems like the reason why the room was empty
Wait,
was
there's no sound.
I know.
Oh.
You want to actually. Oh, this is short enough to listen?
Yeah, it's very short.
Okay.
New at 11, there is no decision yet on Loudoun County Public Schools policy on students who identify as transgender. The board postponed the vote to tomorrow after listening to more than 150 speakers tonight. It is a controversial topic that has fueled a lot of backlash against the board. At issue is whether to require teachers to address students by the pronouns they prefer. One teacher was suspended after speaking out against the proposal. And at the last meeting, deputies detained 2 men who refused to leave. Tonight, we heard from parents pleading for the board to say yes, and others arguing just as hard against it. One teacher even quit right in front of them because of it.
School board, I quit. I quit your policies. I quit your trainings. And I quit being a cog in a machine that tells me to push highly politicized agendas on our most vulnerable constituents, the children.
My transgender son came out in high school. Before any of these policies were considered and contemplated, he would have benefited greatly from policies like this, as his high school administrators were not prepared to support him fully at a time when he really needed it.
Keep in mind, the Virginia Department of Education said schools have to pass a policy like this by this school year. It is a new state law, so the board will reconvene tomorrow at 5:30.
Okay, so I don't know the details that much, but if I had to judge based on what I'm saying, the teacher herself admitted that she's going to be fine. She's going to find employment somewhere else. So if it's between having to worry about that teacher and having to worry about all the trans kids that have to experience bigotry without these policies, I would vote for being more worried about the trans kids that are now, like I would like, yes. Well, I mean, if you don't want to use the pronouns that makes your students feel more welcome, then I'm sorry, I'm not very sympathetic to your tears. Go find employment somewhere else. You have no business becoming a teacher. And you yourself, you said you're going to be able to find employment, so you're going to be fine. Why are you even crying? I'm sure the suffering that you're going through is not going to be as much as all the trans kids that had to become like feel suicidal and ostracized and out of place for so many years because of the lack of these kind of policies. I'm going to be more sympathetic to what they had to go through than anything that you're calling CRT. Apparently everything now that the bigots don't like is now CRT. Like everything how it used to be where we were like so everything that the social justice warriors didn't like all of a sudden became the N-word, like the NAZI thing. And now it's like that with these bigots. Everything they don't like is just like, it's CRT. Like, hey, we don't allow bigotry here. Like, oh, that is CRT. I'm like, okay. I mean, it's okay. If that is CRT, then I'm in favor of CRT.
Because there were people in our community who were criticizing for the way we covered this news, saying like, you're making this typical atheist BS. You're making this story about trans people when it's not. And in fact, they were applauding her for combating critical race theory in this.
Yeah.
I feel like she was shoehorning this into a school board meeting about transgender rights, and like if you're taking, this is the opportunity you're taking to talk about how you can't go through all these trainings when the meeting and policies being discussed are literally about the trainings that teachers are now have expanded coverage that they have to go through about transgender students, then I think it's fair to say that this is a trans issue. What do you think?
No, you're completely right. They completely dismiss the context. They just only look at the video and like, well, she didn't mention trans issues. This whole entire hearing is about a policy about trans issues, about the pronouns and stuff, right? So
that is like, so contentious that people have to be checked for weapons.
Yeah, so like they failed to check the context of what they're talking about, and they were like, well, the title is not accurate. Well, no, you failed to check the context. I'm gonna see what people are saying in the live chat.
Mustafa is saying, I felt like this stunt was her cover letter for rich private Christian schools that she wants to work for. Well, I can only assume that she's getting a huge flood of support and like cheering online. I know that there was at this actual hearing like a lot of very heated oppositional crowds, and I believe she received like a lot of support from her side, so to speak, after she exited and was like, I just quit because of this. So
yeah, I'm too bigoted to work here. That's basically what she said. Like, guys, what these people are doing, these people are helping us really defame Christianity, okay? Because my Christian values is becoming synonymous with my bigotry. That's just another name for it right now, right?
It has been for a long time, but yeah.
No, but I think, yeah, but these people are helping us understand, like more people understand that,
like,
right?
Because you're totally right. I feel like the old way of saying that was like Christian love. Like it's such a thing in American like pop culture and life that when someone is saying like, look at that good Christian love, like that's a smear nowadays in my experience.
Exactly. Let me see. Is there Zakuru's? Do you want to highlight Zakuru's comment or not?
Zakuro is saying, wonder what's wrong with helping trans kids. How does helping them affect quote unquote normal kids? Well, I would oppose that framing of it. She's a Christian who created trans people, if not her own God, or did they just slip through? My contention is I would say cisgender kids, not normal kids, but I mean, this is a classic like Christian contradiction. It's like where they are forced to acknowledge that this is God's creation, but at the same time, like the actual lived behavior is not what they support. That's not okay. That's against God's rules, but he did create you with this impulse, so to speak, that probably characterize it as. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, but I do still think that this is a sign of progress, because we are going from a society where like these bigots used to have the upper hand to now having for them to have to cry, why can't you let me a bigot? Why can't you let me do my bigotry? Please let me. Anyway, so that's good. So this is like they have to beg us to let them be bigots, right? And I'm like, oh, you could go be a bigot. It's free. You could be a bigot, but not here, not in this school.
Yeah, with the way that these laws shake down and stuff, like they could literally lose their federal funding if they don't come up with a policy surrounding this issue.
Good. Make more welcoming environments for students. Zakura is saying the pronoun issue is too nauseating. Right? Am I reading it? At least for me, I'm perfectly fine with helping trans kids. Why do Christians think kids' very existence is a affront to them? Well, I mean, the pronoun thing is like shouldn't be an issue. I mean, but the fact that they're becoming so stubborn, like it's a non-issue, right? Like what makes it so hard? People, you're basically questioning people's identity. You're questioning the way they want to be seen, the way that they see themselves in society. You're rejecting that. By rejecting that, you're basically saying you're denying the way that they feel and the way that they are, and not accepting them as part of society. So this should be a non-issue. Like, this should be easy. Like, there's no cost to you. Okay, somebody like, this is my identity, this is how I am, this is how I see myself, and you're like, I'm gonna refuse to accept the thing, do the bare minimum of things that makes you feel more accepted in society. Guys, you understand the pain of not being accepted in society is more painful than physical pain, like being ostracized, being seen as other, being seen as not normal, being seen as like weird, like being seen as unworthy of friendship.
Lacking a sense of, literally, you're so right. Lacking a sense of belonging is one of the two biggest derivatives of suicidality. It's lacking a sense of belongingness and feeling a sense of burdensomeness.
Yeah, and it's worse than physical. Like the torture that we feel from that is more than physical pain. Okay, like people don't commit suicide from physical pain, but they do commit suicide from these things, right? So I mean, they do sometimes of physical pain, but not to the same level, right? So, and you could basically just, why is it so hard? Like, imagine the cost to them by not using these, accepting their identity, but the cost to you accepting it. Like, oh, I'm just using a different pronoun. Like, how hard is that? Like, this is like, I mean, you're free not to do so, but not while maintaining your job, this job at least, right? But you are exercising your freedom, which you have the right to do so, to be a dick, absolute dick. Like, you are a actually, the last time I saw that, we got a strike on YouTube, okay? Because I think calling people,
don't say it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say it because YouTube thinks that's dehumanizing. You're just a dick. Is that dehumanizing? Like, YouTube, don't give me.
That's something that's attached to humans, so I don't think so.
You're just not very nice. How about, is that okay, YouTube? Can I tell people that they're not very nice? That's not dehumanizing, okay? All right. God damn it. YouTube rules is so weird. Okay. See, like, YouTube rules is just doesn't even, like, YouTube is like, oh, our community standards is to protect oppressed people, and like, you're like, we can't even defend minority groups and oppressed people without having to worry about YouTube's community standards. It's so weird. Anyways, oh my God, some of you guys are saying some weird things in the live chat. I'm not even going to highlight them.
Yeah, let's move on.
We need to. Yeah,
we can clap for the next news.
We can? Yes. Next, wait, am I right about, so you were thinking, just one question, because you were thinking about this a little bit. Am I right that suicide rates for social issues is much higher than from physical pain issues? Because I think
I haven't seen statistics on that, but I would guess. I mean, people do have, in like certain states, there's like legalized euthanasia, for terminal illness. So that's a thing. But that's very rare.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't, like I said, it's not like it's non-existent, but it's much more social stuff. Okay.
I haven't actually seen any statistics on that, though. I mean, that'd be interesting.
Well, I think I saw statistics a long time ago, the main causes of suicide, and almost everything on the list that I saw had to do with social issues, not like
completely.
Pain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right. Okay.
Hey guys, if you're a fan of Blasphemy and Sexy Callie, like me, then you need to be sure to subscribe to our newsletter, link in the description below. Because if you subscribe, we will send you a free copy of our Blasphemous Art ebook. And let me tell you, it is the tastiest blasphemy that you can find anywhere available today. And we are so generous with our blasphemy that we continue to send you more blasphemy every week. So make sure to subscribe, link in the description below.